What up, concert fam?
What's going on, everybody?
This week we're doing something that is a little more in at least my wheelhouse. Is Johnny Cash at
Yep.
San Quentin, 1969.
Hey, man, I'm there for it. I'm there
Yeah,
for it. I dig some Johnny Cash.
hell yeah. It's like he's an artist. Like he's country, folk, and rock, and he's too country for folk and rock. He's too folk for country and rock, and he's too rock for country and folk.
Yep,
That's how I best describe him.
yep.
So, an
He
absolute
is.
legend.
Yeah. Basically, he's just legend. That's what
Yeah,
he is.
exactly. So, you ready to go in?
Yeah, man. Let's dive into this.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
This is the beginning of a myth, one of thousands of settler families who endured Atlantic crossings to find a new life. For them, Europe was rotten and repressive. America was from the beginning the finest country in the world. These new Americans tamed and claimed the land for themselves. They demanded, and with their sweat secured, the right to worship their own gods and make themselves their own masters. Go west, young man, they were told, and they did. The vision of the single figure on horseback pitting himself against the American continent and winning his right to a place in it was to grow into the myth of the West, an idea of freedom fundamental to the American dream. Cowboys clearing a way through the Indians, straightforwardly good and bad men fighting it out, heroic death, simple faith, were already an idealized picture of American manhood even during the last century. And still today, the loner, the strong man, stands against the horizon. The homesteader still defends his family against impossible odds. The space and simplicity of the myth have become confused and idealized in a million films, records, songs, and stories. To fight like a man, to die like a man, is part of the myth. But the myth ignores the squalid reality of violent death. The Western hero has simple religious beliefs. He is truthful and brave. Just the same, he's a killer. Johnny Cash is a folk singer who can reach out to his audience and become the Western hero before their eyes. In this film, he sings to an audience, many of whom have known violence at first hand. Not glamorized as in the myth of the Golden West, but real, dangerous, and bringing retribution. They are the inmates of one of the toughest prisons in America, San Quentin in California, where the wagons stopped. The past and the present come together when Johnny Cash enters this jail.
Who have you got there?
I've got Johnny with me.
All right, come on right on in. Put your hand out, please.
Why do they need to stamp him?
I don't know, just to
Why?
keep track.
You're not a prisoner.
Yeah, let him know he's not a prisoner.
I know. He's like, I used to be. I was one once. But yeah, I'm not going back. Only to play concert.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. All right.
Hello, I'm Johnny.
So what do you want to hear? All right. All right. I'll walk the line. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when each day is through. Yes, I'll admit that I am a fool for you because you're mine. I walk the line. Yeah. As sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on my mind both day and night. And happiness I've known proves that it's right, because you're mine. I walk the line. You've got a way to keep me on your side. You give me cause for love that I can't hide. For you I know I'd even try to turn the tide, because you're mine. I walk the line. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds, because you're mine. I walk the line. You better not bend over there with that camera like that. Man, you're in the wrong place to bend over, don't you know it? Get up from there with that camera.
I've heard fellas say that they...
Man. So this is part concert and part documentary.
I'm
Got
here
it.
for this, man. This is awesome. I know Holly's watched the Joaquin Phoenix,
Yeah, the Walk the
movie,
Line doc,
biopic.
movie.
Yeah, the biopic. And
Yeah.
and that's all well and good. But I like this stuff. I like
Yeah.
this right here, man. This is
The tr-
awesome.
The true nitty gritty
Yeah.
of it, and like, I'm assuming Johnny Cash has some good crowd banter as well. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you talk about a dude of the people. And
Yeah.
he definitely knows his crowd right there.
Oh yeah, because he's the man in black. That's who he associates with.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard fellas say that they were terrified about coming into San Quentin. Actually, you had some fellas say that even when they walked in, they were just scared to death.
Everybody's playing their own little game, trying to get out of this madhouse, I'd call it, actually.
They're family men, they have wife and they have kids in a lot of cases, and they've come here for some such crime or something like that, But for the most part, they're not unlike the average guy on the streets, with the exception of being caught.
First week I was here, there was something like 3 or 4 killings. And the strangest thing about it is I've just heard about them. Haven't seen them, just heard about them. They did happen, because they happened so fast that they took the inmates that were either stabbed or wounded or killed, took them away so fast that before I knew what was happening, it was all over. Matter of fact, there was one incident that happened right in front of my cell. And I didn't know anything about it until I went to the chow hall. And we walk about, it's about a 3-4 minute walk by the time we get to the chow hall. And when I sat down, some fella came up to me and says, "Have you heard about that fella got hit with a 2x4? I says, "Where did it happen?" He says, "Right in front of your cell."
I hear the train a-coming, it's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. Yeah! But that train keeps rolling on down to San Antone. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, "Son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns." But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
Favorite line.
When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. I bet there's rich folks eating in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But those people keep a moving, and that's what tortures me. Hey, one more time, Rob. One more time.
And you move every time a bell rings, it means something. You can do too much time, I think. It makes you institutionalized where you can't think for yourself.
I can remember the time to where, you know, if I saw somebody stabbed or if I saw somebody hurt or something like that where it would bother me, you know. And I'm getting to the point now to where it almost doesn't even concern me.
With laughter in here, man, is a gas. If you can laugh in here, then you can make it.
Man, I love how they're interviewing the prisoners just as much as they're putting on the concert. It's not all about Johnny Cash, which is kind of what Johnny Cash would want, is to highlight, you know, prisoners and humanize them, as opposed to just, I guess, the viewpoint up until then, and probably still today to a certain degree, is that they're subhuman scum, and they're not. And they just, you know, everybody can be saved if they want to work on it.
Pretty much, man. Yep.
Yeah.
That is the positive in this.
Yeah.
You know, I would say.
Yeah.
Hey, look yonder coming down that railroad track. Hey, look yonder coming down that railroad track. It's that orange blossom special, bringing my baby back. Woo-hoo! Down to Florida and get some sand in my shoes, or maybe California and get some sand in my shoes. Ride that orange blossom special and lose these New York blues. Woo-hoo! When you going back to Florida? I don't know. Ain't you worried about getting your nourishment in this rotten place? Huh? Well, I don't care if I do that. Hey, talk about a rambling. Listen to this. Fastest train on the line. Talk about her traveling. She's the fastest train on the line. It's that orange blossom special, rolling down the seaboard line. To ask my wife, June Carter, come back. Come here, June. Oh, here we go. I wonder, I guess Carl Perkins out there.
All right.
We're going to do this song for you right now. All right. Ready, June?
I'm ready to go to Jackson.
You Purdy? Got married in a fever, under a February cloud. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson. I'm gonna mess around. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson. Look out, Jackson town.
Come on down.
People gonna stoop and bow. All them women gonna make me teach them what they don't know how. I'm going to Jackson. You turn a loose in my coat. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson.
Goodbye, to all she wrote.
Hey,
Nice one.
All right, we've got another one for you. June and I've been singing this song, our version of a John Sebastian song, Darling Companion.
Darling companion, come on and give me understanding.
And let me be your champion. I am to hold your pretty hand in.
Darling companion, now you know you'll never be abandoned. Love will always light our landing. I can depend on you.
Oh, a little saucy mare like you should have a steed.
Oh, a little bridling down from you is what I need.
Darling companion, now you know you'll never be abandoned. Love will always light our landing. I can depend on you. Darling companion, come on and give me understanding. Long as we keep laughing, bear in mind just what could happen. Darling companion, I tell the mountains and the canyons, long as I got legs to stand on, I'm gonna stick by you. Oh, a little saucy mare like you should have a steed.
Oh, a little bridling down from you is what I need.
Darling companion, I tell the mountains and the canyons, long as I got legs to stand on, I'm gonna stick by you. Darling companion, I tell the mountains and the canyons, long as I got legs to stand on, I'm gonna stick by you. Okay, baby, I'm gonna go to the next
Yeah, the original country couple, dynamic duo right there.
yep, yep, man. You know, that's just something because she, man, I'm like, that's so. I feel like it's hard to view this in the eyes of this time, right? Because it's weird. It's weird to think because right now that would never happen. You would never bring your wife and do a duo in a prison. You would be like, hell no, you know. But back then, I want to say you could get away with it. You could do it, and people would understand what to do, what not to do.
Yeah, I saw a comment under there saying maybe I don't know if it's true or not, but his record, Johnny Cash's record label, did not want him to do this.
Oh
It
yeah,
said
no.
it would hurt his reputation, but it strengthened it. Is what
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah, it instantly made him likable and relatable. You know,
Right.
more so because he's just an everyman. Like it doesn't matter. I love that because his music's not for just the elitists. It's hey, I play this for prisoners too.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I mean, granted, they probably weren't death row inmates. You know what I mean? They probably weren't the worst apples in the bunch. This is probably a special privilege concert.
maybe
You know,
I don't know.
you did because I know they have that. I know that if you do good or on good behavior, you can get special amenities inside prison. So you know that would make sense. That's one way to separate it all.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. And another point you made of like artists probably would never do this these days. Yeah, I don't see Tim McGraw bringing Faith Hill into this, or
No.
Garth Brooks bringing Trisha Yearwood into this. Maybe Jelly Roll and Bunny XO, but because Jelly Roll's been in prison before.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's
that
just
would
like
make
going to
sense.
see friends at that point.
Right,
You
something
know?
like that. Yeah.
Johnny Cash represents a part of America that a lot of people want to look back to. It wasn't a chaotic thing, you know, in their mind, you know. It was Mom's apple pie, and it might have been beans, but everybody had a full belly, you know, things of this nature.
Carl Perkins wrote a song that tells about the reason for it all. It takes us back home and again tells it like it was when I was a little bitty kid and we gathered around the piano and me and little brother would join in and Mama'd sing tenor and Daddy sang bass. I remember when I was a lad, times were hard and things were bad, but there's a silver lining behind every cloud. Just poor people, that's all we were, trying to make a living out of Blacklander. We'd get together in a family circle singing loud. Daddy sang bass,
Mama sang tenor,
me and little brother joined right in there, 'cause singing seems to help a troubled soul. One of these days, and it won't be long, I'll rejoin them in a song. I'm gonna join the family circle at the throne. Know the circle.
About the only hero that I have is my uncle, who was in Korea and received a Purple Heart and a Silver Star, and he died in a heroic way, I guess. He saved his platoon. That's the only actual heroes I really have.
Daddy sang bass.
Mama sang tenor,
All singing seems to help a troubled soul. One of these days, and it won't be long, I'll rejoin them in a song. I'm gonna join the family circle at the throne. So the circle won't be broken by and by, Lord, by and by.
They're hiding us, you know. That society out there created a good many of us. I myself feel that the greatest crime a goodly portion of us in San Quentin are guilty of is one thing, that we were born poor.
Being a convict in California, especially, you know, you're not even allowed to fight for your country.
We're exposed to a kind of a machine-like justice that just spews us out, you know, because our mediocrity, maybe, you know, we're of no consequence. What happens to us?
My wife comes up to visit. I see her once a week, you know, and you go out into the visiting room and there's your wife, but you know, you can't touch her. You know, that's illegal. You know, and you know, and shame on you if you put your hand on her leg or do something, you know, really out of line like that. You know, they really get upset. You know, and you sit there, you know, and you talk for about a half hour or something like that, and then for me, it's kind of I seem to kind of get in a state of limbo, you know, to where it's kind of like unreal.
Daddy sang bass.
Mama sang tenor,
In the sky, Lord, in the sky. In the sky, Lord, in the sky.
It takes a lot of imagination sometimes to write a song and to really put something into it where somebody else can understand it and feel it. But we've been in several prisons, San Quentin and Folsom Prison and the Starkville, Mississippi jail, and the El Paso jail. And you wouldn't believe it, one night I got in jail in Starkville, Mississippi for picking flowers. I was walking down the street. I may sing that for you a little bit later on. I was walking down the street. What? Excuse me, I couldn't hear you. I was talking. I was walking down the street and, you know, going to get me some cigarettes or something. About 2 o'clock in the morning after a show, I think I was. Anyway, I reached down and picked a dandelion here and a daisy there as I went along, and this car pulls up. I said, "Get it the hell in here, boy. What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just picking flowers." Well, $36 for picking flowers and a night in jail. God damn. You can't hardly win, can you? Damn. No telling what you'd do if you'd pull an apple or something. And if any of the guards are still speaking to me, could I have a glass of water? Quentin, just for you.
Gotta love Johnny Cash, man. Real man of the people.
Yep.
Just bar bullshitter is what he is.
Yeah, I mean, if he ever gets out of line, just I feel like, well, he's in the prison already, so doesn't really have to go far. He's already there.
Yeah, just walk down the hall.
Yeah, go back to your own room. Go back to your room. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
San Quentin, just for you. San Quentin, you've been living hell to me. You blistered me since 1963. I've seen them come and go, and I've seen them die. And long ago I stopped asking why. San Quentin, I hate every inch of you. You cut me and you scarred me through and through. And I'll walk out a wiser, weaker man. Mr. Congressman, you can't understand. San Quentin, what good do you think you do? Do you think I'll be different when you're through? You bend my heart and mind and you warp my soul. Your stone walls turn my blood a little cold. San Quentin, may you rot and burn in hell. May your walls fall and may I live to tell. May all the world forget you ever stood. And may all the world regret you did no good. San Quentin, I hate every inch of you.
Hell yeah.
The inmate comes in, many of them it comes in, I think, are afraid. This causes them to do one of two things. They either have to join a clique of some kind, a gang to survive. They have to pay protection to survive, or they have to do many things, even to the point of being homosexuals to survive. Many of them has to pay protection to survive. And I feel that this type of thing characterizes a lot of inmates. I think practically every inmate in the institution has his own way of survival. This causes him to not be able to act himself. I've seen cases where inmates, for instance, wrap their arms with toilet paper to make them look big and muscled up. I've seen them do many things to do this. Many times they will give staff a bad time in order to show some other group of inmates that I'm on your side, or I'm a big tough guy, and so forth. This is a means of survival.
Wanted man in Mississippi, wanted man in old Cheyenne. Wherever you might look tonight, you might see this wanted man. I might be in Colorado or Georgia by the sea, working for some man who may not know at all who I might be. If you ever see me coming, and if you know who I am, don't you breathe it to nobody, 'cause you know I'm on a lam. Wanted man by Lucy Watson, wanted man by Jeannie Brown, Wanted Man by Nellie Johnson, wanted man in this Texas town. But I've had all that I wanted of a lot of things I had, and a lot more than I needed of some things that turned out bad. Stopped to get myself a map. Went the wrong way into Juarez with Juanita on my lap. Then I went to sleep in Shreveport. Woke up in Abilene, wondering why the hell I'm wanted at some town halfway between. Wanted man in Albuquerque, wanted man in Syracuse, wanted man in Tallahassee, wanted man in Baton Rouge. There's somebody set to grab me anywhere that I might be, and wherever you might look tonight, you might get a glimpse of me.
Most of the people here are paranoid. In other words, they're all afraid something is going to happen to them in one sense or another.
Throughout the whole Department of Corrections, anybody that comes to the surface, so to speak, for some bad quality, he's highly violent, he starts riots, he's a killer, anything like that, usually he's going to end up here.
We had a work strike, which later resulted in a retaliation thing between one group against another, and resulted in the majority of the inmates in the institution rebelling.
And when you come out of the mess hall that day, well, you walk right into the middle of a racial confrontation, and it was black on one side and Mexican and white on the other side, and you were just arbitrarily forced into, going to your own, but nothing else by skin pigmentation. You had no choice.
I'm not a fascist, but I am a segregationist. I don't believe in integration, especially in prison. It creates a lot of tensions, especially with the younger generation of the black people who are taking the militant views. As far as I'm concerned, I have no part of integration.
I was raised like they were. I had nothing. You know what I mean? I had to go out and steal what I wanted to get. You know what I mean? Well, they want everything on a platter. You don't get nothing on a platter today.
Well, it isn't so much what's wrong with them. It's that I don't want to be bothered with their problems, and I don't want their whatever problems they have to be burdened on my shoulders. I feel they should find their own solution.
Holy crap. Like, to think that was the attitude back then. I mean, it's a product of its time, I guess.
Yeah. No, it still is, dude.
Yeah.
Once you go in, you're split up by race.
Right. But like on the outside as well, because this is 1969, civil rights just been voted in like 5 years ago, but yeah, and like that, that's probably still the thing in prisons these days too.
Yep.
And I was just, another thought I had was, this could have been modern. If this was modern day, it would be produced like by old school Vice, not modern Vice, but as groundbreaking journalism and bringing to light something that really isn't known. Because this is a lot of stuff, prison conditions really weren't known back then, and this is like groundbreaking stuff right here.
Yeah, man. It's pretty interesting, and then if you take it a step further, because it's like we're not here to be psychologists, we're here to watch Johnny Cash, right? But what happens is this mentality, the prison mentality that segregates everyone for their safety and stuff like that, right? Once you get out, that doesn't change your mentality. You carry that out of the walls, and that's also detrimental to society too.
I believe that.
You can say that about it, but at the end of the day, it's interesting to see who's watching him. Yeah. It's interesting to see who's out there in front of Johnny Cash.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a pretty mixed, I feel like it's a mixed crowd.
Yeah. It's not just white people. There's a I've seen black people there,
Mhm.
maybe a few Hispanics too, but
Yeah.
it's Johnny Cash is for everybody.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
and I believe, if I read correctly, Merle Haggard was in that San Quentin crowd as well, because
What?
he was doing time, and the Johnny Cash is the guy that Merle Haggard has said has helped get him got him on the straight and narrow path.
Mhm. That's
So,
awesome, man.
yeah.
Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to Ma and me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Now, I don't blame him 'cause he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue. Well, I grew up quick and I grew up mean. My fists got hard, my wits got keen. Roamed from town to town to hide my shame. But I made me a vow to the moon and stars, I'd search the honky-tonks and bars and kill that man that gave me that awful name. Well, it was Gatlinburg in mid-July, and I'd just hit town and my throat was dry. I thought I'd stop and have myself a brew. At an old saloon on a street of mud, there at a table, dealing stud, sat the dirty mangy dog that named me Sue. Well, I knew that snake was my own sweet dad from a worn-out picture that my mother'd had, and I knew that scar on his cheek and his evil eye. He was big and bent and gray and old, and I looked at him and my blood ran cold, and I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do? Now you gonna die." Yeah, that's what I told him. Well, I hit him hard right between the eyes, and he went down, but to my surprise, he come up with a knife and cut off a piece of my ear. But I busted a chair right across his teeth, and we crashed through the wall and into the street, kicking and gouging in the mud and the blood and the beer. I tell you, I fought tougher men, but I really can't remember when. He kicked like a mule and he bit like a crocodile. I heard him laugh and then I heard him cuss, and he went for his gun. I pulled mine first. He stood there looking at me, and I saw him smile. He said, "Son, this world is rough, and if a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough. And I know I wouldn't be there to help you along. So I give you that name, and I said goodbye. I knew you'd have to get tough or die, and it's that name that helped to make you strong." Yeah. He said, "Now you just fought one hell of a fight, and I know you hate me and you got the right to kill me now, and I wouldn't blame you if you do. But you ought to thank me before I die for the gravel in your guts and the spit in your eye, 'cause I'm the son of a bitch that named you Sue." Yeah, well, what could I do? What could I do? I got all choked up and I threw down my gun, called him a pa and he called me a son, and I come away with a different point of view. And I think about him now and then, every time I try and every time I win. And if I ever have a son, I think I'm gonna name him Bill or George, any damn thing but Sue. I still ain't
I started.
Did you hear that one before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. That's one of my favorite Johnny Cash
It's
songs.
a great song.
Yeah. Even though these days being a boy named Sue really isn't that weird.
Nope.
Just saying.
Out in the department some 22 years ago, working with youngsters. From 18, some of them even younger, 16 to 25 years old. We have a large number of the people here that is the same people that I was dealing with then. They have grown up and graduated through the institution and finally arrived at San Quentin.
Came out of the Marine Corps, I didn't have much money, you know. And I seen people with money, you know, so I knew about weapons. So I figured it'd be easy, you know. So I just picked it up, started robbing.
This is a beef that's concerning a 14-year-old girl and two 16-year-old girls. We had a sort of our own argument going on, you know. And the police came in.
I figured that money would cure all the problems I had and just take care of all my needs at the time. Of course, I realize now that this isn't true. Don't get me wrong, I still like money, but I know that's an improper way of attaining it.
I'm 32 years old now. Been doing it ever since I, I've been doing it every day. I do it every day, 7 days a week. And, I boost in a day like a job, you know what I mean? And there's days where I don't steal, and I get the press, you know what I mean? And the next day I go out and I steal double, you know what I mean? And then I feel happy.
Well, I used to be a professional fighter and lost my temper at one time and hit somebody and hurt him pretty bad. So my beef is assault. That's my problem. Mine is mostly a problem of emotions. Got to the point where I couldn't control my emotions, and as I was told that I'm still capable of hurting someone, in spite of my age, I'm still in good condition and all these other factors, so they decided that they better send me away, hoping that I could learn enough to control my temper.
Well, I'm not proud of it, believe me. I regret it. I always have and I always will, but I was at a party and there was drink there, and I was one of the drinkers. This woman was one of the drinkers too, a friend of mine. She was a customer of mine at the station. And everybody else left. We were there. Well, she had a 12-year-old son, and he had already gone to bed. And during the evening, I'd made a pass at her, and she accepted the pass, so we were just about ready to culminate the scene on the couch, and her son walked in and caught us, and he says, "What are you doing to my mother?" Well, I blew it. I don't know why, but I did. I strangled both of them.
Oh my God.
All I can remember clearly is her starting to scream, "He's raping me, he's raping me." Call the police. God knows I don't know why I done it. When the judge told me I was to be taken to San Quentin and be executed as prescribed by law. Well, that's, you just looked at the judge and that's it. But the realization hits you when you receive your slip of paper, your verification of your death sentence. And I looked at that slip of paper and said, on March the 10th, 10 a.m., you will be executed. That hits you, then you know those people weren't fooling.
Evening prior to the execution.
Yeah. I was going to say, Ron, I'm not taking away from the severity of this situation, but if it was someone that, was like, I don't know, Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden, and I was in charge of setting their execution date, what I would do is I would set it for, 3 a.m. that they set clocks forward. That way I could come at 1:59 a.m. It's like, looks like got about another hour. Nope, spring forward, asshole.
Yeah,
Let's
there you go. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who is supervising the execution takes the officers who will be sitting with the man during the night to condemn row, where the man is informed that it's time to go downstairs. We bring him out of the cell and place a set of leather cuffs on him, take him down a flight of an elevator of 5 floors, and put him in a holding cell where he will stay for the night. All arrangements that haven't already been made are made at that time. We find out naturally what he wants for his dinner that night, what kind of records, if any, that he wants to listen to, if he wants coffee, or if he wants tea or milk or whatever the case may be. Then, if he hasn't previously done so, we find out his religious preference, who he would like to spend some time with him during the night, if anyone, and notify these people.
Well, I'm tired and so weary, but I must go along till the Lord comes and calls me away, oh yes.
and the morning so bright, and the lamb is the light, and the night is as black as the sea. Oh yes.
There will be peace in the valley for me someday.
There will be peace in the valley for me, dear Lord, I pray.
Well, you're contained in a long corridor up there. Your cells are side by side. You have exercise period from 10:30 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. You're fed twice a day, in the morning and then around 8 o'clock and then around 2:30. But you have, well, you can do a variety of things, mostly small things. Reading, writing. Some fellows drew, some fellows talked, other fellows thought. And you find out a lot about some people, some of your fellows, that your neighbors, what kind of life you've led. And of course, a lot of them put you on about Cadillacs and all that, you know. I mean, actually, everybody up there, I think they're scared. But some of them don't want to admit it. They keep trying to reassure themselves that they're not scared. In this way, why they like to exaggerate a little. I've seen several fellows go downstairs to be executed the next morning. The custom is that the evening when they take you down, they come down and shake hands, you know, you stop at each cell and shake hands. What can you say to a man that's going down there to be executed? Good luck, or don't breathe too deep, or something like that, you know what I mean? And some are on the verge of cracking, but you can see them just steeling themselves so the tears won't come, won't show. And several of them have gone down with tears in their eyes and visibly shaken. They're all really scared. Of course, others I've seen going down smiling. A couple of fellows that tell me that one of them just practically run into the gas chamber. He wanted to get it over with.
That's sad, man.
Yep.
Like the ones that, you know, are going down, you shake their hand and they're just bawling their eyes out. Those are not the ones I'm talking about given the 3 a.m. time. It's the ones that are, you know, smiling. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, they're not in there for nothing.
Right.
You know, it's hard to have like a sense of humanity for people that didn't have humanity there inside of them, you know?
Right.
So, and yeah, it's like, it's not like these guys stole a car, you know, the people that are on death row.
Right. It's a shame. I mean, and also it got me thinking about, like, if I was in prison for some reason, to my knowledge, I don't have anything that I could go to prison for, but I'm just thinking, what would I do? Like, my inclination would be that I would start picking up books and start, you know, trying to paint and draw stuff and, you know, just try and either learn or create as opposed to trying to get involved with fighting, even though that I may not have a choice in the matter. So but then again, I hope I never have to think about that.
There you go. I mean, I think I would go with, I would just become a pro at international law. And then when I get, and then when I get out, I would go to another country and rock.
Yeah.
You know,
live like a king.
Yeah.
I like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No sorrow, no trouble I see.
There will be peace in the valley for me. Well, the bear will be gentle, and the wolf will be tamed, and the lion shall lay down by the lamb, oh yes, and the beast from the wild will be led by a child, and I'll be changed from this creature that I am, oh yes.
I would say at first they're afraid. But I think after a few days they get in a routine, and they live a comparatively easy, good life on Condemned Road during the time they're waiting. They fed exceptionally well. Of course, they do an awful lot of cell time. They get a couple, 2.5 hours or something like this exercise in the corridors during the day. And this is about all. The only time they get to come outside is when they're going to and from visits.
There will be peace in the valley for me someday.
There will be peace in the valley for me, dear Lord, I pray.
There'll be no sadness, no sorrow, no trouble I see.
There will be peace in the valley for me. We went into the little town of Cana, just over the hills from Nazareth. And there's a church that sits over the cistern where the water came from that Christ turned to wine, where the first miracle was performed. We went into the church, saw the cisterns. You can hear the sounds of the water in there, hear the echo. I was so impressed when I came out of the church. If I ever had an inspiration, I had one then, from seeing what I had just seen and heard. And I said under my breath, He turned the water into wine of all things. On the way to Tiberias in the car, in the next few minutes, I wrote this song. He turned the water into wine. He turned the water into wine. In the little Cana town, the word went all around that He turned the water into wine. Well, He walked upon the Sea of Galilee. He walked upon the Sea of Galilee. Shouted far and wide, He calmed the raging tide and walked upon the Sea of Galilee. He turned the water into wine, didn't my Lord now? He turned the water into wine. In the little Cana town, the word went all around that He turned the water into wine. He fed the hungry multitude. Didn't He, brother? He fed the hungry multitude with a little bit of fish and bread. They said everyone was fed. He fed the hungry multitude. He turned the water into wine, didn't the carpenter from Nazareth? He turned the water into wine. In the little Cana town, the word went all around that He turned the water into wine. He turned the water into wine.
The executions are normally carried out at 10 a.m. on Fridays. Almost in all cases, the reaction is the same. From the time the man is placed in a chamber until he's pronounced dead is not longer than 14 to 15 minutes. He is, for all intent and purposes, dead long before that. The ones that I have witnessed was very easy. I've heard many people describe this in many different ways, but to me, if you watch a man's hand, it's strapped to a chair when he doesn't even clench his fist, which would be the first thing that you would know, that you would see if there was pain involved. And I've never even seen this happen. So I don't believe that there's any pain whatsoever connected with it. Most of them want to go in without any problems. They think it's important to die like a man.
Well, my mother came to see me in the morning, and it was a little difficult trying to more or less soothe her feelings, and she was more perturbed actually than what I was. I was scared. I always have been scared, but I felt, well, this is the way it's going to be, and I'm going to go. I didn't want to go, but you just can't do anything at that time. I was prepared. I talked to the rest of the fellows, but I was in a little bit of a daze, though. I was thinking about tomorrow morning, what was going to happen, or next morning, rather. I managed to survive that afternoon, and then I heard them coming up for me. The 4 officers that usually come up to take a man down and hold him in the holding cell next door to the gas chamber. And then the officer come down and he says, you better sit down. He says, I got some news for you. Well, I knew my attorney was trying to contact Justice Douglas, so they must have got in contact with him, because the officer told me I was granted a stay.
Wow.
Well, it's just like a big load coming off your shoulders. And I did get down, say a prayer. I went right down on my knees and said a prayer. Thanks.
San Quentin, you've been living hell to me. You blistered me since 1963. I've seen 'em come and go, and I've seen 'em die. And long ago I stopped asking why. San Quentin, I hate every inch of you. You cut me and you scarred me through and through. And I'll walk out a wiser, weaker man. Mr. Congressman, you can't understand.
Man, oh man.
Hey man, that was good. That was awesome. Like,
Yeah, it was obviously during this concert thing we do here, we're more just trying to jam out, but this was important to see. This was a great, well put together documentary, revealing the state of prisons back then and how Johnny Cash just wanted to give these guys some a little bit of joy in their time, and
when was this? 1969. 1969?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. All right.
Yeah, man.
So it's safe to say that everyone we've seen in this documentary is dead.
Yeah, including the performer that yeah.
Everybody that we've seen is probably passed on, including guards and everyone.
Yeah, all of them. But hey, this was great. I'm glad y'all picked it this week. I've always loved Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
He's one of my personal heroes in terms of not only his music, but his attitude and how he wanted to help the forgotten folk of of America and of the world too.
Yep.
So that inspiration is great.
Man.
I
Man.
appreciate that y'all picked that. So
Yep. Johnny Cash, man.
Yeah.
Just legend. Legend.
Absolutely. Anyway, thanks for watching, y'all. Thank you for your patronage. Keep the lights on. What now, Dan?
Unplug and stay out of prison, guys. For real.
Exactly. See y'all next time.